Rumours, urban legends and myths of all kinds can surface from about anywhere and generate great legends. It's of no surprise then that countries all over the world have their own personal stories that seem to echo throughout time, and persist for many future generations to come. So today we'll be visiting Australia, and talking about the top 5 urban legends that are popular in the country that you should be aware of. The Yowie. The Yowie, or more commonly referred to as the Australian Bigfoot, is a large beast that stands on 2 legs roughly 7 to 12 feet tall, and has the general appearance of that of a large ape-like creature. Sightings of this beast have persisted for eons since the time of the Aborigines, and these tribes have told many stories about these mysterious creatures. What is all the more startling about this urban legend is that even to this day many Australians claim to have encountered the Yowie, and many others have started their own research groups looking into the facts and evidence of these mythological beasts. Ancient Aboriginal myths credit the Yowie as being beasts from the time before man, and the Yowie were the original inhabitants of the Australian continent, but were completely driven out of their native lands by men who came there to settle. Interestingly enough, this could very well be possible evidence of the Homo sapiens driving out Neanderthals, a species similar to that of humans, and were believed to share an ancient common ancestor but later went extinct roughly 35,000 years ago under mysterious causes. Going down the Yowie rabbit hole leads to further startling conspiracy theories surrounding their existence. From Australian government officials covering up further evidence, to Yowies being involved in many of the extraterrestrial and unidentified flying object sightings all around Australia. There are even subgroups of the Yowie community that defend the idea that Yowie might be an alien species visiting Earth, and that the Bigfoot species and variations could all be this extraterrestrial species. As evidence of their theory, they cite the common UFO sightings that seem to correlate with Yowie sightings in certain areas of the Australian outback, as well as the lack of the physical evidence of the Yowie, which could be due to their techniques at teleporting back up to their spaceships, or covering up further evidence. Bodies in the Harbour Bridge. Seen as the most popular tourist destination in all of Australia, Sydney is filled with hotspots and tourist attractions that bring in visitors from all around the world. Some of these attractions, however, can hold much darker secrets that even the Australian government will attempt to cover up, and prevent further popularisation of such rumours. One such secret has to do with the supposed pile of bodies in the Harbour Bridge. Known famously as the world's largest steel arch bridge, the Harbour Bridge was a massive mega construction project for the Australian government, that working conditions, deadlines and additional factors including weather, equipment and lack of training by certain men contracted to do the work on the bridge, led to a massive amount of workplace accidents and around 16 fatal incidents. This includes construction workers falling off the bridge while they were working to meet the unrealistic deadlines of the bridge construction. Although all 16 bodies have been recovered, there were rumours amongst the workers and then later the general public there were not 16 fatal incidents, but rather a total of 20 fatal incidents and 4 bodies that have never been recovered. This is due to the set in concrete. This legend spread like wildfire across the city, and it soon became a very well-known rumour that possibly 4 workers could have been sealed inside the massive pylon supporting the bridge, and the incidents could have been completely covered up. This would be so they wouldn't have to destroy set concrete to retrieve the bodies. Further evidence finds that given the fact the contracted workers were mostly unnamed and held random shifts, it was impossible to prove that every worker made it out of the job in one piece, as the project's managers were uncertain as to how many workers they had under their command at any one time. Add this to the list of ex-convicts or people down on their luck working for the job with no next of kin to report them missing. Many experts do believe it to be a possible truth that such instances did occur, and was potentially covered up by the Australian government and project managers. Hawkesbury River Monster. Though the Loch Ness Monster and descriptions of its appearance as a long-necked beast of the sea has gained a renowned fame that stretches across the entire globe, it appears that given new myths and sightings of a long-necked monster from the larger rivers of Australia, the country appears to have its own variation of the Loch Ness Monster that locals refer to as the Hawkesbury River Monster. The Hawkesbury River Monster has been spotted by many different Australian residents in large rivers, and even smaller rivers across the country, and was later confirmed in a sighting by cryptozoologist Rex Gilroy, who believes to have spotted the river monster in full detail. He described the beast to have a smaller design and appearance to the ancient plesiosaur of prehistoric times, a creature that was well known to have once existed, and skeletons of its fossilised remains are on display in museums around the world. Rex Gilroy and many other people that have reported the sightings believe the river monster to be a surviving variation of the plesiosaur from the times of the dinosaurs. An interesting fact they cite as evidence was the finding of a vampire squid near the continent closer to several coasts from the beaches near the sighting of the Hawkesbury monster. Archaeologists used to believe the vampire squid had long become extinct, and was known to be a common source of food for the plesiosaur in ancient times. Knowing proof of the existence of the surviving food source, many cryptozoologists then believe there isn't much of a stretch to further support the evidence of a plesiosaur in the modern era. Given the reported sightings at certain times of the year, many researchers believe this could be a time of breeding when the monster travels up to the deeper rivers, similar to that of other fish species to spawn. After spawning, they could very easily enter back into the ocean and continue their life cycle. Running data off this estimate puts the potential population of this mysterious beast at approximately 300 to 600. Some have even put forward that the Hawkesbury River monster could be growing every year, as sightings and evidence of the beast continues to grow in a similar fashion. The Yarramaw, probably the most mysterious image told, and similar to that of the made-up fable of drop bears that was designed to solely scare tourists and children. The Yarramaw are grotesque red creatures with large heads, completely hairless bodies, toes and fingers that end in suction cups and large mouths to swallow their prey whole. The creature is reported by locals as being capable of hiding inside fig trees, and waiting for an unsuspecting traveller or visitor to walk beneath the tree they were inhabiting, and then immediately drop down on top of them. When attached to the body of the traveller, it will then begin to latch on using the suction cups located on the end of its toes and fingers, and begin to suck out the blood of their prey. Once their food is completely drained and lifeless, the creature will immediately begin swallowing the body of the traveller entirely whole. There are many tales of these creatures, and all the stories follow a similar theme. The myths concerning the aboriginal beasts vary in their reports. It's uncertain whether or not the traveller themselves also become the creature when it's later regurgitated, or if a new one just happens to spawn after a large feast. Whatever the actual case may be, many locals and aborigines themselves still fear the presence of this monster, and drawings and sightings of the beast persist even to this day. Ghost Train Park. In 1979 at Luna Park, Sydney, a tragedy had occurred relative to the amusement park ride known as the Ghost Train. Investigations never concluded a reliable source as to what truly happened, but due to mysterious circumstances, a fire had started on the Ghost Train ride, and ended up ending the lives of 6 children and 1 adult. Rumours quickly spread after this incident all across the country, as those who pored over details from the investigation found the incident to be both supernatural and possibly paranormal in origin. In fact, the exact cause of the fire could not be determined even after investigation. The coroner also ruled the actions of Luna Park's management and staff before and during the fire all followed strict safety codes. It wasn't until the visitors themselves and surviving members of the family involved in the accidents looked over their pictures that things began appearing even more out of the ordinary. It had appeared that every child who sadly did not make it appeared in a photograph posing next to a man in a strange costume. The costume resembled the ancient references of Moloch. The man dressed up in the horned costume had silently touched the shoulders of each of the children before the incident, and was later confirmed not to have been a member of staff at the amusement park by the park's management. Further mythologies involving the creature claim that sacrifices are commonly made, and it has led some to point the finger to this mysterious creature. But what do you guys think about these urban legends? Are there any that you think we missed from the region that are important to share? Be sure to let us know in the comments down below, and be sure to share your answers and questions about the video.